We are being killed barbarically and viciously. They want to erase the Shiites from this land. The view of a Pakistani cleric after 4 deadly attacks on Shiites in just a month and a half. Shiites are a minority in Pakistan, and there are fears of far more bloodshed amid reports of the Pakistani Taliban joining forces with the Islamic State group. This report from our team in Pakistan.
As noon approaches, worshippers flock to this mosque in Peshawar for Friday prayers. Entry is only allowed through multiple checkpoints. Security officials swarm the area, monitoring everyone who has come to pray. The high level of security has been in place since an attack in this very mosque on February 13th. An attack which saw 21 people killed by Pakistani Taliban suicide bombers. They were targeted because as Shiites, they're considered to be heretics by the Sunni Taliban. The walls and ceilings of the mosque still bear the marks of the carnage that took place.
We're being killed barbarically and viciously. They want to erase the Shiites from this land.
As the crowd listens intently, Iqtidar Shah, a survivor of the deadly attack, records the sermon. He not only witnessed the bombing in February, but also filmed it on his phone. After the prayers finish and the mosque clears out, Iqtidar takes us through what happened that fateful day. He shows us the moment he captured the suicide bombings.
I was right here. I was telling everyone to come to the side. The terrorists were firing from outside and I could see bodies falling.
Attacks on Shiites have risen sharply in Pakistan in recent years. Many of the country's Taliban commanders have pledged allegiance to the Islamic State organization and have issued propaganda videos like this, vowing to follow the Islamist group's anti-Shiite ideology. This center was established by Saudi Arabia for the Ahl Sunnat wal Jamaat sectarian group. They deny any hand in the killings of Shiites, but do not hide their hatred for the minority sect.
Our movement to protect the Prophet's honor has stopped Shiite ideology from being spread in Pakistan. We have been saying all along that what they do is wrong. Their beliefs and their ideology have nothing to do with Islam. This is a conspiracy. When the majority of Pakistan is Sunni, why introduce a Shiite movement?
The group has been banned twice by the government, but a weak criminal justice system has allowed it to resurface. The family of Nabila recently moved to Islamabad after leaving behind their ancestral home on the border with Afghanistan, where the Taliban are based. A bomb planted by the terrorist group killed the head of the family. 7 others died. The attack disabled Nabila for life. Her mother, Shanaz Bibi, decided it was time to move to a safer environment. 2 years on, the family continues to cope with the aftermath.
The situation is getting worse here. It's just like it was back home. We have to maintain a very low profile. We don't tell anyone in this neighborhood that we're Shiites. Now those who can afford it are sending their children abroad to places like Australia.
In the last 2 years alone, more than 2,000 Shiites have been targeted, forcing hundreds to flee Pakistan. With the Taliban now declaring its support for the Islamic State group, there could be more bloodshed to come.
And joining me now in the studio is Didier Chaudet. He's a Southwest Asia expert from the Institute for Perspective and Security Studies in Europe. Hello, thank you very much indeed for coming in. First of all, is it fair to say that Shiites in Pakistan are being persecuted?
Definitely, and it has been like that for years now. We often think that Daesh is the main source of anti-Shia propaganda in Pakistan. Actually, this propaganda came from the 1980s as a reaction to the Iranian Revolution in 1979. And it came from the pro-West but also Islamist dictatorship of General Zia.
So what are the authorities, both locally, regionally and also nationally, doing to combat this then?
Nationally, they try to do the best they can, but it is difficult to get rid of this kind of anti-Shia feeling that has been like a poison inside society. You get always reassured when you talk with the average Pakistani. I had the chance to live in Pakistan for 9 months in 2014, and you can see that this kind of anti-Shia feelings are coming from a minority. Still, because of different groups that are financed in big part by Saudi Arabia and by other people from the Arabic Peninsula, they're able to have an impact, and against prejudice, the state alone cannot do much, actually.
I was going to ask you about that, Saudi Arabia, because our report touches on that. How much influence exactly does it have in Pakistan, Saudi Arabia?
I mean, the anti-Shia issue is first and foremost a local issue for sure, but Saudi Arabia is a force, even if it is not the state itself, but Saudi individuals, Saudi Wahhabites, are the one financing this group on the ground who say that they are not violent. But when you support the idea to eradicate part of a population, even if you just say it, you are part of a problem, definitely not part of a solution.
What about on the other side? Is Iran interfering at all, or intervening, supporting the Shiites?
The issue that I have here is that when you look at the English-speaking media coming from the US or the UK, I always see these researchers trying to find a balance and to criticize Saudi Arabia, but at the end of the day they need to criticize Iran. The only problem is that I'm going to Iran regularly, I've been in Pakistan regularly also, and from what I've seen, the big issue for the Shia minorities is that Iran is not spending money on them. It is not financing them to defend themselves. And what these Shia leaders were telling me is that the issue is that they are not financed by Iran, but Saudis are financing the extremists in the other side. And we need to understand here that Iran is actually still under sanction and doesn't have the money to spend all around to support its revolution. It's not the Iranian way. Unfortunately, it is the Saudi way.
And what about the fact that these Taliban leaders have pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group? What difference does that make?
Oh, it gives them the possibility to be more independent, because when you pledge allegiance to Daesh, you do not pledge allegiance anymore to Mullah Omar. Nobody knows if Mullah Omar is alive or dead. What is for sure is that he represents the old school of Taliban, the old guard. And the old guard is the one who was having all the power. Now, thanks to Daesh, you have a young generation, much more violent, much more aggressive, even before Daesh existed, who, thanks to Daesh, can say, now we have a new leader. So we don't care about the old guard at all, and it will make them more violent, more aggressive, more eager to use terrorism against the population.
So you think the Shiites in Pakistan that we've spoken to for our report are right then to be very concerned about what the future holds?
They are very right, and unfortunately I will say that everybody in Pakistan is in danger, because these groups who are supporting Daesh will have no problem to target the population. They will have no problem to target schools like they have done before, and there will be no possibility to reason with them.
Okay, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much, Didier Chaudet.